So it kind of scares me a little bit to put a lot of bees down into a place like this. You just overload the yard with bees of bee flight. It's an awe-inspiring.
Oh, hello. Just watching a bit of Ian Stepler. He's pretty good, you know. But just wanted to tell you before my next video, don't forget, if you've got a beekeeping partner or a husband or whatever, and you want to buy them an awesome present for Christmas, now's the time to order your copy of Amazon, or if you go to the website of Steve Donahue, it's available through Untitled Publishers. You can get this awesome book. It's got 8 amazing beekeepers in it and a clown. That's me. I'm in it as well. So don't forget to order this copy. Hope you enjoy the video. Bye for now. Sunshine, sunshine, sunshine. Love it. So Friday, and the world has gone crazy again. We're all under lockdown. I'm not going to get involved in that, but I'm on my way out to do some bees. This morning I was up at the workshop melting down more frames, cleaning stuff, doing more supers. We're nearly there with the supers. So now I'm off to apiaries to take out the last feeders where the pollen sub was. I want to have a look at that and see how that's gone down. But the main thing is that I know they've taken it down. I know we've had good weather while it was on. It's absolutely fantastic. So I'm looking at the best case scenario for the moment for nutrition wise. So typically my apiaries are about, well, from my house, a maximum of about 15 kilometers. So I tend to work on that, but from the workshop, they're all within about 8 kilometers. The workshop is pretty central. And that's kind of why it's so efficient, because we plan apiaries from where the workshop is rather than from where your house is, because if you work from a central point where you're going to be bringing your material back and bringing your honey back, that's where you make your savings in time. This apiary I'm off to now, I filmed here in the spring a couple of weeks ago, and also when I put the pollen sub on. So it's a brilliant apiary, it's in a perfect place, but I can't get to it now because of we've had a lot of rain, and I don't want to risk reversing down that slippery slope now, and it is a slippery slope. So the whole idea now is all I'm doing, I'm not going into any colonies unless I deem it necessary, but there's no need at all. There's nothing you can do. If you open the colony and there's bees on the top around the cover, or where the pollen sub has been, that's enough to know you've got a queen there, because the colony has survived it to now. We've had colder weather. At night at the moment we're getting 1s, 2s and 3 degrees with a few light frosts, so it's actually quite chilly for us here right now. It doesn't usually get this cold, and in the day we're getting 9, 10s, 12s, 14s. I think it's 14 again today, so there's quite a big variation in the temperature between first thing in the morning and about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But we got this kind of weather where it's fairly still late in the day and the sky's really clear, so when the sunshine does disappear, it gets instantly cold and damp because there's not much wind. You know, this is the classic autumn weather I don't mind, because you can get shit done, as they say. You can go out, do stuff, go from apiary to apiary. It's reasonably dry enough. There's a few places, as I just said, you can't get into, but overall you know what the parameters are. So my objectives today are to get as many apiaries done as I can, and the work there is having a quick look around, checking everything's good, removing the pollen sub bubble from above the brood nest, because the pollen sub is gone now. And what I'm doing is I'm just taking the plastic off, straightening it out, making sure it's well sealed. The bees are still active. They're going to be active the next few days a lot, because it's going to be about 15 to 18 degrees maximum again. We're getting another good blast in the weather. But also, just to put all the insulation on, I've got spare insulation here next to me. There's always a few in every apiary. When you bring hives in the spring, you're like, oh, I'll bring the insulation later in the summer. It's not always that easy. Just stalled. So yeah, some of them need insulating better. Most of them have got it on though, so we don't want to fall down this hole, because I'm just reversing up to I'm reversing up this driveway now. Just going to be going through the last few processes of the bees, having a quick look at the colony. There's really nothing to do apart from make sure that it's clean, make sure it's tidy, make sure that it looks good and there's bees there in enough numbers. If there isn't, then I might dig down and see why not. But as far as I'm concerned, we finished beekeeping now. There's the truck, a little bit of a walk, about 50 meters. Well, what can you do? And all these are going to have the roofs taken off, the pollen sub, paper re-straightened, and then that's done. It should be quick, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Let's see how we get on. Just taking this cover off. All the pollen sub has gone. Nice bees. They've all gone back down beneath. I'll show you here just one frame. Just see how good it is. The whole thing is so well stocked, it's beautiful. This is exactly what I love to see in my colonies. Nice bees as well. See how much brood, oh, we've still got a bit of brood there, look. This is what is a surprise to me. Look at that, beautiful. Nice queen, laying away. Nice bees, not going to disturb them. That's it for the year. Let's get a bit of smoke so I don't break any bees. So nice, there's some lovely weather. So this feeder's coming off now. That's already been off, the pollen sub was underneath. I'm putting my aluminium on top next. I'm also making sure that every corner is covered. It's so easy to get this wrong. Then goes on my polystyrene, above insulation, okay. And then goes on my, we call it like a sort of thin board, just keeps a bit of weight on it in the summer. And then there's that. There's the roof on. Pollen's still coming in, mouse guards are on. What I'm going to do next time I come is bring some things to close off the bases at the back, because I just feel now that we want to have our hives closed off for the winter at the bottom. That's how I'm feeling right now about all that. Let's move along. Let's do the next one. Bees are being very nice, the weather's good. Have a look. Slugs. Spiders. Look at that. Nothing there, look. See, that's where the pollen sub was. I put in both places. Beautiful. That's exactly what I want to see. Absolutely fantastic. See, unfortunately the bees have built a little bit onto the feeder, but it's better than nothing. Doesn't make any difference at all. A little bit of smoke. I just want to literally remove the bees off of here, put it flat, and then put the winter insulation back on. Just have a look at one frame. These are actually on 7 frames. Here we got 2 partitions here. So show you this frame here. You can see the amount of honey in this. This is just lovely. The brood is reducing here, look. But there's larvae and eggs, so it means there is a queen laying, but there's so much food. I'm just delighted by this. The amount of bees hanging off these frames. And there's larvae on this one. So they're going to have to rear this brood. But hey ho. So there is brood, but we had loads of pollen still come to this brood here hatching, look. And is that there because I fed with pollen sub? Is it there because there's still pollen coming through the door and it's been warm and mild. I think it's probably the latter. Who knows? So I'm just making sure that all the corners are covered. Insulation goes on next. It's stuck in because it's been there all summer. That goes on and that pushes down. Then goes on my bit of card, which we use all the time. And then the roof. Now the thing about these roofs is they are long, deep roofs, so we don't really use straps here either. Yeah, it's just, I'm thinking about lots of things at the moment. I'm thinking about poly hives, and I'm thinking about going back to wood again. I don't know why, I'm just feeling that the poly hives aren't doing what my old nukes used to when I used to use them for production. So I'm just, it's that time of year where you start to think about a lot of things and what you can change, because you have a little bit of time up here to think about a few things, you know. And I'm bouncing ideas off. I'm thinking of the way ahead. I'm just clearing my mind of stuff, and I'm starting to think about what I can do to plan ahead. But I've just got to concentrate on getting this all finished, then I'll have a bit of time later on. But we're nearly there. This is a really quick job. It makes me happy to see a colony like this, you know. These bees are a bit feisty, but they're not really bad. Mouse guard is on. You know, I'm going to come and clean all these apiaries in the next few days. Well, maybe probably a couple of weeks now, but they'll all be done. I don't have to come down here with the truck. The truck will stop up there, and I've got to clean the access way as well. You can see that is kind of south over there, and the sun sets in the west there. So it's actually a lovely apiary. And you do get a little bit of a shady spot over that side in the winter, but I make sure that's well ventilated around there and there's plenty of air around it. So yeah, it's just good. It's just a nice feeling about this apiary. Let's have a look at this nuke while we're here. I fed this nuke pollen sub. See what it's done. Oh, all gone. Look at that. Beautiful. Just a bubble now where the pollen sub was. Look at that, full of bees. Gorgeous. I showed this one on my video last time, or a couple of times ago. You can see again they built the same here. They built that. They built like a leveling wax where, okay, some of it's a bit tall, but I'll just knock off the bits that are tall, and I'll leave it so that the bees can move over the frames if they need to during the winter. So it means they can move over. See, these bees don't give a damn. The other ones are a bit feisty, but these are really nice. And I'd expect this from these because these should be better genetics. But yeah, lovely, you know, just really nice to see that. A good colony, full of food. And that was my whole point of giving the pollen sub, was I was giving it at a time I felt I had the opportunity. It was still mild. I did risk it a bit because we had milder weather than usually. But I gave it because I knew the bees would, at this time of the year, want a load of pollen sub to make their winter bees. And as you can see, there still is brood there. But I feel that it's justified because I'd organised myself. I'd got the pollen sub at the workshop over the summer. I've used it over the summer for my queen rearing as well to supplement, not to just feed, to just supplement the feed. And I'm giving them extra so they can have the maximum diversity of food. So pollen is obviously the best thing. Nature's pollen that they provide is the best thing that they need, without a doubt. And all these people that, I'm actually getting a few haters as well. If you read, I've highlighted the comments so people can read, because I believe it's fair that you see everyone's point of view. And I take on board what they say, but I still maintain that I'm not doing anything that is bad for the bees. I'm just trying to help my bees, because they wouldn't normally live under these conditions that well with the varroa that we have. And remember, it's us as humans that have been involved in moving things around the world, and we've brought this varroa to our bees, so they need every help we can give them. And I believe that pollen sub is one of the ways we can help. Obviously, we're all looking at varroa control. We're all looking at different methods to make our bees better. And yes, I've got to make a profit from this. That's true. So I do slant on the side of commercial. I have to. It's what I'm doing. It's what I'm here for. But the pollen sub is something I give because I give it at a time when the bees would normally have need for it to raise their winter bees. And I can't get clearer than that. I'm not going to give it in midwinter because A, I know they won't take it, and B, it'll sit there and go rock hard. I won't give it between spring and summer because I know they've got plenty of food, plenty of pollen coming in. I'm only giving it when they might need it. And if they take it down, which they did in this case, it's a no-brainer. If you can do it and you've got it, why not? What does it do? It's another source of amino acids, different types, slightly different to what the bees are getting, but it's more diversity in their pollens, more diversity in their gut, so it can only be a good thing. So that's why I gave the pollen sub, and it's all gone. It means the bees have got time to shut down now. We've got this perfect weather window, like I said, that gives those bees time to... I like it when they slow down slowly. I like it when the brood hatches out, when the bees have a chance to... obviously, I can't control this at all, but if the bees kind of sense autumn's coming and they can slow their laying and slow down, let that brood hatch out. They're not trying to keep a lot of brood warm until it hatches when it goes cold. You could argue, yes, I've given them pollen sub when perhaps they wouldn't have as much. Okay, you could argue that. I take that on, yeah, I understand that. But they're still bringing in pollen now, so to me, it's still a sign they're still getting what they can. You know, bees, they're like little boys at a buffet. They'll just keep going and going while they can, and that's why they give us honey, because they can bring it in when they have the chance. You know, it really is a no-brainer. It's what I've done this year. I've got these apiaries noted. We'll see the results next year. I might see no results, but I might see them all the same. I might see all the apiaries I didn't give pollen sub to just as strong or just as dead out. Who knows what the winter's going to hold? But they're going into the winter now, as far as I can tell, the best prepared they can be. You know, I looked at this last spring when I had these problems with winter dead outs, and I made those choices. That was my management. I'm going to tweak it again next year. We're looking at different routes. I'm convinced that these apivar strips we're using are not really working that well. And now I think we're going to go down the road of trying the paper towels with oxalic acid, which you can use most of the year, to be honest. And obviously I'm going to start my own oxalic acid treatment very shortly, but I'm going to do that damn well. I mean, really well. And these... One of the things I like to do this time of year is rinse out my hornet traps. Some of them get pretty rancid and full of dead insects. You do get a bit of bycatch, I'm afraid. But we basically usually leave these cleaned out for the summer, because the Asian hornets, once they have started laying, there's no real point in trapping, because all you do is get other insects as well. You don't generally get that many. So we work on spring trapping when we can. This is my classic bottle trap I use. Insects, the Asian hornets go in there, fall into here and they drown. There's a lot of traps out now. Vespa catch from Vito Pharma are probably one of the better ones. The reason why I do say that now is because you need a lot less liquid in it. These are good when you're using beer, white wine and blackcurrant cordial, because you can put a good amount in and the smell does come out. But the problem with it is you need a lot of material when you're going around each apiary. With the Vito Farm traps, you need a tiny amount. This is enough in this bottle to probably do 30 traps. So obviously I mix this up myself. And what I do is I drop a little bit in the bottom. Okay, and I put a little bit over the top like that. It's probably a bit of a waste, but I've got not many traps to do, and because they're already all done. But the idea now is the fruity smell is what the Asian hornets will home in on. And this time of year, we're now beginning of November, the founding queens for next year, that's the Asian hornets queens that have been made in the nest. They are now leaving the nest and they're trying to find a place to hibernate. And as they do that, they look for sugars if they can find it. If you leave an old hive out, for instance, you'll get a lot of Asian hornets in it trying to get a quick snack. So whenever I go to each apiary, I fill up these, and it's not really now is the time, but this year, because it's a little bit warmer and because there's hornets flying, we're really happy because it gives us that moment to really try and start on cutting the flying queens down. You do get some worker hornets that also come out at the same time because they know the nest is failing. But you get this period now for a couple of weeks, and that's all, where you have Asian hornet queens flying around. If it's dry, they'll try and pilfer a hive. They'll go into a dead colony, and that's why we put out the traps. But the spring is the main trapping time for us. We start in mid-March and we go through right till mid-June. And we usually get a lot of founding queens on, and that really does bring the numbers down. This year, we don't know why. We had not very many Asian hornets, but obviously now the time is the ones that did make nests. That's the time now that they are coming out the nest. So we want to get those while we can, and we've got this unique little window in the weather. Mother Nature's giving me a chance. I've got to seize the opportunity, you know, I've got to get to it. And I can just see a couple over here. Now I'll take you to this. I've left a feeder up, and you can see a couple of Asian hornets around there now. There's one there. They're little bastards, they really are. Those two are from the same nest, you see, because they're not fighting. Got them. Got one anyway. They're absolute little shits. They could well have been queens. I don't mind doing that because I've got gloves on. But they're a pain in the ass, and this is the time of year you can really catch them, you know. So I'm filling up my traps. I've got another one over there to do that's full of muck from the summer I need to clean out. But it's just a little thing we can do that does make a difference. And it's all about making good what you can whenever you get the chance. But anyway, this apiary is done. And I've got the feeders to collect up now. And they'll all go back to the workshop for stacking. And if they're bad, I'll wash them out and clean them. And what a beautiful weather. Look at that. What a nice view. And if you can see that, you got my fingers are slippery. I'm still wearing my gloves. Isn't that beautiful? Sun behind us. Lovely scenes of autumn. Going to get in here and clear all around the back of here so we get good airflow around these hives. All these brambles will be cut back hard to at least 6 foot behind. So, and also the area up to where the tape starts. Originally, so the lady used to keep horses in this field. So, and she doesn't do that anymore, obviously. But I'll probably leave that tape there. But they leave a lot of this grass now. It's not cut at all. This is really a kind of paradise, really. But I honestly wouldn't mind if they cut it once and sowed some clover. But you know, it's all about give and take. But anyway, look at that, beautiful. On to the next one. But we're doing well, and hope we catch you again soon. Bye for now.